Hello again. I'm now going to show you how to do the rest of your Google Drawing for the whole experimental setup. There is, of course, more than one way to do this. Just wanted to give you an idea of how you could use Google Drawing to set this up and make it look real nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the drawing that we already made as a start for this next drawing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my insert up here, okay, click on it, and I'm going to go to insert image because I've already downloaded my other drawing as a PNG, so it's already on my computer. So I'm going to click on image. I'm going to say choose an image to upload, and I'm going to choose the setting up the plates that I already did. I'm going to open it. And here it is. Now right now it's taking up a huge amount of space on my Google Drawing, which I don't want it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the corner. And you should always go to the corner when you're trying to make something smaller because it keeps everything in the same proportions. When you go to the sides, it's actually going to make them fatter or thinner or something along those lines. So whenever possible, go to the corner and just drag it up so that it's not taking up all the space. Okay? I might want it bigger, I might want it smaller, but for now, that's about as much space as I want it to take up. And I'm going to make it take up even less space by moving it up a little bit because this is all empty space here. So I'm going to move it up a little bit like this. Okay? The same way I talked about before, as long as you have all the arrows showing, it's a kind of like a plus sign with arrows on it, you can move anything you want. Okay? So I've moved this to the upper corner. And if you remember from the drawing that I made, okay, I actually then showed how to inoculate the plate with bacteria. All right, so I'm going to make another circle. And I'm not going to get the exact same size, unfortunately, because of the way that I did this. But I'm going to go up to my shapes, go to the circle, and I'm going to try to do all the inoculation stuff up here. So I want a circle that's about this size. And I know I'm going to need two because I'm going to show how you quarter turn it and then do it again. But I'm going to wait because I'm going to use my first drawing to make my second. Okay, we're going to get fancy now. So for this one, I'm going to go up to my line again, but instead of using the line, there are actually options underneath the line. So you see this little arrow here? If you click on it, you have all these options. Okay, we're going to use arrow later on, but we're not going to do that now. I could use curve here, but I think I'm going to use scribble. And I'm going to use scribble because it's exactly the way it sounds. Once I'm where I want to be, if I click and hold, it will actually literally scribble. And, to do this, it won't look perfect. Okay, I'm just doing the best I can. I'm just dragging it back and forth the way that I would. It's not perfect because really I would be even tighter with my back and forth if I was doing it on my regular. And once I let go, I have my scribble. You might need to practice a couple times because it might not, I'm used to doing this stuff. For you guys, it's new. But if you needed to change anything, you see how you have this plus sign? It's still in scribble mode. So if I do something right now, it's scribbling, okay? So to get out of scribble mode, you have to go to this arrow up here and select it. And then you're back to your normal mode. So you can, and it nicely selected this, or I could click on this. I can click on anything. But I'm going to click on my scribble that I just made. And then I'm just going to press the delete button to get rid of that. Okay? But that's the trick with that stuff is once you're in it, you got to go to this arrow to get out of it. Okay? So once I've made that, I'm going to actually use this whole thing that I made. And to do that, I need to be in my arrow mode. And I'm going to try to highlight this whole thing, okay? And to do that, I want to be well outside of it, like here. I want to click and hold, so I kind of make a box around it like this. And when I do that, it actually highlights the whole thing. So now I've got my circle and my scribble all highlighted. So I'm going to go back to my idea of, I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to say Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And then I'm going to get my plus sign with the arrows on it, and I'm going to move it over here. And then I'm going to also turn it, okay, so that now it looks like this, okay, because this is like a quarter turn idea. All right, and so now I need to make another scribble. But if I do the other scribble, I'm going to be fancy because I want to play with my colors a little bit, and I want to show you how to play with colors. So I'm going to go to my scribble. And once I'm in my scribble, oh, it's not going to let me. I thought once I chose my scribble that I would be able to show you how you could change the color, but I don't see it giving me options of color, so maybe I won't be able to be as fancy as I originally thought. Interesting. So, go back to scribble. And we're going to color it the other way. Is it me or is it coloring in blue? Maybe it's just me. All right, so there we go. I have my two scribbles both ways. All right, and again, I'm still have the plus sign, so if I were to touch anything, right, I'm gonna actually scribble. So I have to go back to my arrow. I'm gonna delete my scribble I just made, okay? And now I'm ready to move on. So now I need to give my directions that go with this, okay? So I'm going to make an arrow. So I'm going to go back to the line. I'm going to go to my options underline by clicking on this arrow. And I'm going to go to arrow. And once I'm there, I can then, see how it wants me to make my arrow here? I don't want to make my arrow there. I don't know if it's going to let me. There I go. Okay. So I'm going to do one arrow, and then I know I'm going to make another arrow. And now I have more options. I don't know why it didn't give me the options with the scribble. But one, I like to make my arrows thicker. Okay, so I'm going to go to line weight. And if I click on something else, see how it makes it thicker? I can make it even thicker if I want. Okay. I can change my end if I want to. You see all these other options you have.
Stop being scared, man. Stop being scared. Stop being scared.
All right. I need to go to my arrow here. That was just my housemate leaving and talking to the dog. And then I'm going to click on my other arrow because I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make the weight much thicker. And I'm going to change the end to be like my other end because we're just playing around a little bit here. You can technically change colors too if you were to choose the line color. I'm going to leave it black though. Okay. And now I'm going to add some text. So I need to go to my text box. I'm going to click here, and again it gives me this huge text box that I need to make smaller. I'm going to double click inside to do my typing. We're going to use our fancy words, so we're going to say inoculate with bacteria. All right, it's okay if it's in the way because I'm going to move it around, okay, in a minute anyway. So I'm making it smaller. Then I'm just going to move the whole thing up a little bit. And again, because I like, once I make one text box, to use it again, I'm going to say Control C and then Control V to make my other set of instructions. And then I'm going to double click inside and highlight that so I can change it. And I'm going to change this to quarter turn the plate. Okay, and I'm going to add another label at the bottom. Because we're going to say we're going to do another text box, but this one's going to be bigger because I want it to be here. I double click in there, and I'm going to say create. I think I'm going to capitalize it. Create a bacterial lawn. Okay. And I'm not going to change this too much because I actually want to make this a little bigger. Okay, so I'm going to change the size maybe to 18. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to move this over a little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. So now I'm kind of labeling what we're doing here. We're creating a bacterial lawn. Nice.